Good morning, everyone. It's lovely to see you all this morning and a few familiar faces. It's great. Thank you for joining us this morning. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Lydia Vorster. And together with my husband, we've been in real estate in Durbanville and northern suburbs of Cape Town since 2005. And without anything further, let me hand you over to Andre. Enjoy.
Thank you very much, Lydia. And welcome, everybody. So lovely to see all of you here. A couple of familiar faces as well. Nice to see you guys. Right, so Lydia's done a bit of an intro there. Okay, I'm going to jump right in. You know that this is sort of one of my favorite types of sayings. But just looking at quickly looking at a big picture before we actually get into the tools and systems we're going to be looking at today. It's important to know AI and technology are not here to replace us as estate agents, but they are going to raise the standard which we have to actually adhere to. Okay, so the agents who learn to use these tools properly are definitely going to pull away from the other agents who do not. And that's why 2026 actually feels like a tipping point. Actually, I think last year was a real tipping point. And what used to be optional for us is now pretty much becoming the baseline. Okay, so it's not optional anymore. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a practical blueprint of what we use on a day-to-day basis, and then why and how it works for us. All right, so why are agents falling behind? Before we actually jump into this whole presentation, I want to explain why this session really matters for us all. So real estate is really changing quickly, and I'm sure you all can agree with that. Okay, I mean, technology, AI, the marketing methods we use, even just our compliance requirements in our industry, everything's changing very, very fast and everything's evolving. And many agents, because of this, feel very overwhelmed by all of it. Also, most of us are working harder than ever before, okay? But hard work alone doesn't create consistency anymore. What does create consistency is tools and systems that help us to improve our personal brands and our productivity and our exposure out there as agents. So after our previous ChatGPT and AI webinars that we've been running for quite a while, many agents asked what the other tools and systems are that we use. So today, I'm going to go into that. Today's not theory. Today's practical, really. I'm going to show you what we really use in real life, and then you can decide what might work for you and what might work for your business and what not. So just a quick note up front. As you know, we are with EXP. So many of the tools that you'll see do sit inside our EXP ecosystem. Although there are some external tools that that any agent can actually use, you'd obviously have to pay for them, etc., which we don't. But the goal is simply to make you help you to make informed decisions about your business going forward and see where you are in your business. So if you walk away today with a few practical ideas, then I reckon we've achieved what we actually came here to do. I've got to just touch on this quickly. So. Again, tools and technology and systems. The future is going to reward agents who build scalable, system-driven businesses. Okay, our clients these days are actually expecting a lot from us. They expect speed and they expect professionalism and they expect consistency. And to do all of this and do it fast, we need technology to deliver on our clients' expectations. Okay, so again, think of today sort of as a blueprint of what a modern real estate business could and should look like. All right, and again, I just want to reiterate. Please remember, tools and technology are not here to replace us, but they are meant to free our time up so that we can spend more time with people, be that personal relationships with potential clients or with our own people and our own families. Okay, so that's what technology will be doing for us. Now, I do want to just mention here quickly, and there is a reason for it. So our daughter Shanae joined real estate in 2023 at a very young age. She had no database, she had no past clients, and obviously no prior real experience as a real estate agent. And she didn't participate in our listings or anything at the start. We wanted her to do her own thing. So by 2025, she actually became the youngest icon agent at EXP. And that is the highest production recognition in the company. So to reach icon agent, she sold almost 40 properties in a 12-month period, 40. So she's living proof that by using these systems and tools, and together with collaboration with other agents, that it actually works. Okay, even for an inexperienced agent with no prior database or anything. So she managed to build a business very rapidly by using this technology-driven environment of ours and collaborating nationally with other agents and really fully using the model and tools that were available to her, which you're going to see a lot of today. So I just had to throw that in there for a reason, so you can see that these systems do work, but also just because we are very, very proud of today. Okay, so today is actually very simple. I'm going to be dividing this into sort of 3 sections with only one goal though. 3 sections, but one goal. The goal is to create a more predictable real estate business. Okay, now section 1, we're going to be talking about lead generation and nurturing, just touching on it. How can we get more leads, better follow-up systems, better conversions, and making sure that leads don't fall through the cracks simply because we don't have proper systems. Section 2, we'll be looking at listing and marketing systems, how we can do better marketing, better presentations, wider exposure, both locally and internationally, of course. And then section 3, we'll be looking at training and artificial intelligence and just general agent growth, really. So how to improve your skills and build your own personal brand, which is very important, and build income and that actually becomes stable over time. Okay, more predictable, that's the word. So if you follow this whole flow, then you'll see each section builds on the previous one. And by the end, you should have a much clearer picture of what you could or should improve in your business, if anything. Okay, so right. Let's start with section 1, which is about lead generation and lead nurturing. Okay, so here we're going to be looking at the systems that can help you stay top of mind, etc. So when you have the right tools and systems, you'll obviously generate better leads. You can follow up better on your leads, and you can convert more of them into actual clients when the time comes. So this section is really about creating more predictable growth in your business. All right. I'm just going to touch on one of the 2 little practical things quickly. I mean, this is every agent's daily battle, a part of it. So we've got multiple systems and multiple programs and multiple logins and passwords and things. And most of them don't always talk to each other. So here, even we can lose a lot of time and focus every day by trying to go in and out of different systems and remembering passwords. So we use a system ourselves that simplifies all of this dramatically by just bringing everything into one place. So I'm going to show you quickly what that looks like. Basically, this system is called Okta. So it's basically a single sign-on system is what they call it. So it's an all-in-one single sign-on system that we use to access all our tools and systems. So it's one login, one dashboard, and then everything you need is in one place. So it removes basically the frustration of jumping between websites and systems all day. So from here, we can access our CRM, our marketing tools, any documents we need, Figure systems, flow marketing, which I'll talk about later. And from here, we can even access our support staff, which you're going to talk about a bit as well, and a lot more. So this alone actually saves us hours every week. Okay, that's pretty much what it looks like. So every agent has a dashboard like this, and then you'll see all the different systems we can access, even if some of them are external systems, which are included for us. So there you'll see PropCon, Lifestyle, and Virtual Agent. Many of those you'll recognize, and some of them you'll actually be touching on today to see how we use them. So it's a simple and clean, and it's just everything is where you need. All right. So yeah, a lot of these, as I said, you will see today, so I'm not going to harp on this right now. Okay, lead generation in an evolving world. So lead generation has definitely changed completely. Okay, and those agents, once again, who adopt technology and AI will have a massive advantage going forward. So once again, the agents who embrace this early usually pull ahead the fastest. I keep saying things like this, but just that's it, embrace technology. And the gap between agents is going to be created by systems and technology more than anything else. So whether you use them or not, that's going to create a gap between you and other agents. All right. Now, most agents struggle with lead generation, right? That's really the core of our business, and it's not always that easy. But often it's not because of the agents, or it's not the agent's fault, it's actually the systems that they use. Excuse me. So many agencies still operate with outdated systems. We see that a lot. No proper CRM, no real automation, and no artificial intelligence involved. Sorry. That leaves agents guessing and sort of working harder than they should, all right? So a modern CRM will use data properly, and it helps you to nurture leads consistently. so that your business becomes more predictable. Another one of my favorite words today. So your business becomes more predictable, you know what to expect, and it's based much less on luck. Okay. So in today's market, the system behind you as an agent is often more important than the agent alone. Okay. The systems are very, very important. Right. Let's get into it. So when you look at practical lead generation tools, obviously there's many ways of generating leads. When you know that we can't cover that today. I'm just looking at some of the tools that help you, especially if you're a new agent or you're in an area. But anyway, the tools. So there are many lead generation tools. These are the ones we use on a daily basis. So Lightstone will give us the data we need. The virtual agent we'll use, that'll help us to get owners' contact details. And then PropCon, which is our sort of CRM and listing system and everything, keeps everything organized and manages our follow-ups with our leads as well. So when you combine all this with artificial intelligence and targeted online ads, which we'll also talk about a bit later, then your lead flow suddenly becomes much more consistent. Okay, and that we'll be looking at in section 3. So it's a very simple set of tools, but very powerful when used together and together with the other systems you're going to see as well. So because obviously today it's not one tool that makes all the difference. It's how all your tools and systems work together. All right. So obviously many of you will be familiar with Lightstone. It's one of the few systems that one can use to sort of do the same job. So we use Lightstone obviously for our property reports, our suburb and street reports, getting trends in areas, very importantly for lead generation, getting owners information, property owners, and all that then helps us to prospect for leads more intelligently. Okay, so we can obviously pull reports within seconds, and we can use them for our CMAs and value estimates. Not allowed to say valuations, value estimates, and we can use them for area knowledge and then of course for farming for leads as well. So for lead generation, we need the owner information and the IDs and so on, and that we get from Lightstone. And obviously, the more you understand your area as well in general, through all of the other available data on Lightstone, the more confidently you will actually be able to talk to your potential seller leads when you do contact them. All right, so just again back Okta. So we just go into our Okta and click on the Lightstone, and we're in. It's easy as that. Okay, now you've got to find owner contact details. So you've got the owner details, who owns the property or whatever, or the properties in a street or however you've worked it. So one of the most frustrating parts of prospecting is then trying to find accurate and up-to-date owner contact details. Because accurate data, that's the difference between wasting time and actually generating real opportunities. So here again, we use the virtual agent. Many of you will possibly be familiar with that as well. That gives us very accurate and definitely up-to-date owner information. I found this to be very, very up-to-date. Okay. So again, from Okta, you simply click on the virtual agent and we're in. As I said, many of you will know this system. So you can either search by ID number or you can search by company registration number, and then you find the directors and then you can search them again. And so you can find people's contact details. Now, as EXP agents, as you'll see at the top there, just so you know, we get 60 credits every day. So included in all our tools and things, every day we can look up 60 owner contact details without any costs. Okay. So that's quite powerful for us for consistent prospecting. Now, consistent prospecting becomes very much easier when you have the right data and the right tools available every single day. So that's quite a lot. You can build up quite a database using that. Right. Now, talking about databases, once you've got the leads, what happens next? So now you've got owner details and you've even got contact details. Maybe you've got a whole street or a whole suburb you've built up, a nice database. What happens next? So most agents, as you'll see there, most agents don't lose business because they're bad agents. They actually just lose business because they don't have a proper system. Again, I'm going to keep saying this today. So, follow-ups get missed. Your leads go cold. Opportunities quietly disappear. Without a structured CRM, your database leaks money, as you see in the slide there. Okay, you need a structured CRM, otherwise your database doesn't really mean much. So for us, PropCon is basically the backbone of our business. It's not only our CRM, but it's one of our core operational systems, as you'll see later on. But we're talking about the CRM part now. Okay, so PropCon. As I said, it's not just the CRM. It's really our core operating system. It actually manages our databases, but also it's where we do our listings. It's where we manage our transactions, all in this one system. And the nice thing is it was really built by South Africans for South Africans. So it fits our workflows and compliance environment properly and everything. The nice thing is it also syndicates to the major portals. That's now on the listing side, and many more portals than most people are used to, giving us international exposure, but that we'll look at a bit later. But now the CRM side, that's what helps us stay organized, and that's what we're talking about right now. Helps us stay organized and follow up properly and stay top of mind with our clients. That's the important thing. Remember, your clients, not necessarily you got a lead, you contacted them, they're not necessarily going to transact today. They might sell in a year or 2 or 3. We've got to stay top of mind. Okay, so when your CRM actually becomes your operating system and everything all in one, your business becomes much more structured. And here's my favorite word again, one of my favorite words for the day, and much more predictable. All right. Once again, in you go. From Octa, we simply click and we're in PropCon. So there you'll see on the left, you've got all your menus where you can go to either your listing part or your deal tracking or your contacts or whatever. So right now we are obviously specifically thinking of contacts because we're on our database section and lead generation and lead nurturing. So that's what we're going to be looking at now, just quickly. And from here now, obviously, you can then manage all the contacts that you have now imported, which you gathered with all the previous things we discussed. All right. Now, how does your database actually grow? How do you build your database? So let's say there's probably 3 ways. Okay. Firstly, you can obviously manually add a contact into the database on PropCon. So you go in and you fill in all the details of one person. Otherwise, you can also import bulk data from spreadsheets. Now, spreadsheet, for all the leads you obtained previously using Lightstone and the virtual agent, you can put in a spreadsheet and then you can bulk import it. And then very, very importantly, the third one, where you see the auto sync from portal inquiries. So every single inquiry that we get from our property portals, whether it's probably 24 private property or whatever, automatically comes straight into our CRM and is automatically populated. Okay, so that's also a great plus. So there's no copying, no forwarding, no extra admin later on. It just lands in the system and you've got the details and they are part of your CRM. So that removes a massive sort of friction point. And it's automation like this is really what starts to turn a busy agent into a scalable business. So once your database is set up properly, by importing or whatever, and you've got people in your database, now nurturing your leads becomes much, much easier. Okay, so what does this really mean for us in practice on a day-to-day basis? Basically, it means every contact lives in one central place, right? Within PropCon, within our CRM. So that contact is living there with all the notes about that specific contact, any conversations that you've recorded previously, the details about for that contact. And then you can also tag them. So you've got tags linked to that specific person based maybe on the area they're in or whatever you can choose. Sorry. Then you can obviously set up automated reminders for birthdays and property anniversaries and things like that, which is a nice contact point as well. And you can schedule follow-ups and schedule future callbacks and so on, so you get reminded of those. And then, of course, tasks can be linked directly to people so that nothing gets lost. We can send bulk nurturing campaigns. This is very, very, very a lovely feature. So you can send sort of bulk newsletter campaigns or whatever directly from the system. And then the nice thing also is that it's POPI compliant. All your POPI permissions are tracked automatically and you remain compliant, and your clients have the option to update their preferences as well. So all of this really help us to become, let's call it, we become the agent who never forgets, right? So you don't forget anything about any contact. That's what a good CRM helps you do as well. Okay, so in my opinion, the strongest asset that any agent has, it's not your car, it's not your office, it's not your phone, it's not your laptop, it is your database. But having a database is one thing, but without structured follow-up and nurturing, it's basically just a useless list of contacts. Okay, now PropCon is what turns this contact list into a proper business system for us. And that brings us basically, so here we go. So generating leads is only half the job. Converting them into actual sales, that's where the real value lies. So in order to be able to convert leads properly, you're going to need good exposure. You're going to need professional marketing tools. That's where the listing and marketing side comes in. And of course, remember, the way you market your listings is often the biggest factor in winning future listings, because your potential sellers are also watching how agents market properties in the area. So now you've got a database and you're staying in touch. But when the time comes to convert that lead into actual business, all of this that we're going to be looking at now is going to become extremely important, because that's what people are going to perceive you as, and whether they want to use you or not. Right, so that does now bringing us to section 2, which is all about listing and marketing, etc. Listing your properties, marketing them. We're even going to be looking at compliance and collaboration. So this is where agents can really separate themselves from the competition. Okay, it's through professional marketing and strong processes, and mainly basically world-class exposure, the best exposure you can get. If you can show your clients that that is what they're going to get, you sort of 90% there. And this is also, as I said, where sellers start to see the difference between an average agent and a top-tier agent. Okay, so let's look at how you can actually elevate your listings and your service in general. It's very important these days. We are in this highly competitive world. So today's sellers, they expect more from us than, just photos and a listing description, right? They expect a full marketing strategy. They want to know that they're getting maximum exposure, not only locally, also internationally. It's very important. The world is becoming very small. So international exposure is just as important, or very, very important. If you can deliver all of that, you immediately stand out. Okay, you definitely stand out for average agent if you can show them that you can deliver all that to the max. So I'm going to show you how we do this. And again, I want to say, remember, great marketing doesn't only sell a listing, right? It's one thing. Don't just think of your marketing as, oh, I'm marketing the listing so I can sell it. It also wins future referrals. Okay, so your marketing is not just for the buyer, it's also for your next seller. Very important to get our heads and keep our heads around that, and remember that when we're marketing, and the quality of the marketing that we do, etc. All right, so once again, now we're on the listing side of things. Again, we go into PropCom. And in this case, obviously on the menu side, we go not to the contacts or etc. We go to the listings part. So I'm just going to run through one or two things here. We're not going to demonstrate the system to you. So at the top, you've got all the tabs. So there you're, overview, etc., etc., etc. Different tabs. We obviously just put in different information as it's needed. The info tab is where you'll load all the property details, etc., which you'll be used to, whatever system you use. Then you can obviously add your YouTube links as well if you have a video, quite normal. Then you also have a prop bot, very handy. It's our AI assistant within PropCon, which can help you tremendously with your listing descriptions, but also with many other things, although now we're talking about listings. Then obviously the photo gallery, where you'll upload all your photos and you can drag and drop them to change the order and so on and so forth. And then I'm not going to go through all the tabs, but then you've got the drive tab as well at the top there. Now there you can obviously upload all the documents for your property, sole mandates, whatever it is, property condition reports are all stored nicely in one place for that specific property. Very handy. And then what's very, very nice is once you've actually loaded the listing, before you publicize it, you can go and check your listing quality score, okay, as you see there. So this shows you basically what you could improve to make the listing perform better and be more visible online. So that's also a very handy feature. Okay, but now the main thing is loading a good quality listing is important. And that's great. Nice photos, nice videos, a good description, and now it's loaded. But the exposure of that listing is what really matters. Who's going to see it? Okay. Local exposure is obviously important, but as I've mentioned previously, global exposure has become a real game changer as well, because buyers today are often searching internationally, and not only in the luxury market, actually normal properties as well. The world is becoming smaller and smaller. So when you can tell a seller that their property will truly be visible worldwide, it changes the conversation completely and becomes a major sort of differentiator. That's another one of my favorite words. Becomes a major differentiator between you and the next agent when you are doing your listing presentations. Okay, so the main thing is marketing on its own. Also, again, to remember, even the marketing on its own doesn't sell properties. It's the exposure. So it's not the marketing material only. That's got to be of the top, best quality, but it's the exposure that sells properties. The better exposure obviously creates more buyers, and more buyers will create better prices for your seller. All right. Now, what does global exposure really look like? So for us, basically, we've got a whole suite of global exposure systems. So firstly, through ProperStar, our listings are automatically syndicated to more than 30 countries. Okay. And they're not only syndicated to those countries, they're also translated into those countries' languages. So that people see the listings in their own languages. They even contact you in their language, and you get it in your language, and so and vice versa. Right. So it becomes very easy. And then another one that we have is for qualifying luxury properties. So if you've got a luxury property at this stage, the criteria is above 10 million rand, then it automatically also feeds through to what's called the James edition, which is probably sort of the benchmark luxury exclusive platform in the world. So yeah, your luxury properties, or our luxury properties, automatically feed through to the James edition. So these platforms give your listings really serious reach and credibility. Okay. As I've said, global exposure just means more eyes on your listing, more clicks, and more serious buyers. And I say again, exposure like this immediately sets you apart from most traditional agents and makes your listing presentation stand out above the other agent when you can mention all these tools and many more that we're going to be looking at. All right, so that's just quite simple. That's in PropCon again. Once your listing is loaded, then this is where you choose where the listing will be syndicated to. So you can choose the platforms or not. So obviously you've got Property 24, Private Property, My Property. Then you've got ProperStar there, which I've mentioned, which is for the international exposure, the James edition for luxury properties. We've also got Green Acres, which I didn't even mention, which is another international exposure that we're getting. It's fairly new in EXP now. And then you also see the option there for flow marketing, which is if you want to do paid Meta ads. Now, Meta is basically paid ads on Facebook and Instagram. Meta owns Facebook and Instagram. Okay, so if you want to do paid Meta ads, you tick the flow marketing box, and your property will also go through to the flow marketing system, and we'll be looking at that a bit later on as well. So basically from here, you can just select all the platforms that you wanted to go to, and the system automatically syndicates immediately to those platforms that you've chosen. And obviously, the more places your listing appears, the higher the probability of finding the right buyer at the right price. Okay. So it's actually quite simple. Once again, the more exposure, the higher the probability of you having a successful sale. All right. So I'm going to quickly show you ProperStar, how it works. Just a quick one, just so you can see the translations, etc. So what I've actually got here, I think I've got a video I'm going to play, which is just going to quickly take you through. This is the back end. So when we log into the back end of ProperStar, you can go and see what your listings look like, etc. So I'm going to play the video. Let me just go here. This is a bit of a scroll through the ProperStar system. Right, so if you go and look over there where it says countries, 36 countries. So here you can see in which countries they are displayed. And you can even show this to your sellers. So you can even send them a link so they can see exactly which countries it's going to be in, which is great. But what I really want to show you quickly is the translations. So as I said, the system automatically translates your listing into different languages for every single country. So as you see there, you just go and click on any one, you'll see what it actually looks like in that country. So there it is now in German. Not that you do this, I wouldn't understand it, but nevertheless, very accurately. And then if you look now, I'm going at the top there to messages. So any inquiries you get will come in here. And when international buyers inquire, remember, they've seen it in their languages. They're also sending their messages in their languages, but their messages will be translated into English so that you can communicate with them. So there you'll see, I mean, there it is. Now I'm turning the translation off, and you can actually see what the original message looked like there. So, ik ben geïnteresseerd. Okay, that was Dutch. But you can get it in English, and then you can answer in English, and they will see it in Dutch again. So this becomes very, very seamless. Okay. So effectively, your listing is marketed internationally in multiple languages. And then the nice thing is inquiries come back to you in English through the system and so forth. Okay, so that's really what proper global exposure should look like in practice. All right. Now, the James edition. So as I said, if your seller wants prestige, you don't really need to explain this to them. They probably recognize this immediately in any case, because James edition just simply positions your luxury listing in front of many high net worth buyers worldwide. They know this. It's not only the James edition doesn't only cover luxury properties, it's also yachts and cars, etc. Okay, so your luxury people tend to often know about this website. So it's definitely one of the most attractive marketing tools for you when you're speaking to luxury property owners. And remember, luxury sellers, they don't just want the normal marketing. They want to know that their property is distinguished and sort of positioned correctly out there. And that's what the James edition provides for us. Then, this is fantastic. Okay, so Live, lyvve.com. Live is EXP's own global property platform, which operates across nearly 30 countries, okay, and growing. Countries are growing rapidly, and close to 90,000 agents. So now buyers can actually browse all EXP properties worldwide in one place. And sellers, of course, benefit not only from, again, the international visibility, but also from the cross-border collaboration between thousands of EXP agents. Okay, so this really shows you in a way where real estate is going, is not just more global visibility, but yes, global visibility, but also more collaboration across borders, all right? The future of real estate, pretty much, I think, is going to look like this, because it's not going to be local offices. It's going to be about actual global networks, and that's something we have access to. Okay, so this is simply basically what Live looks like, just quickly in a way, and you'll see people would go on Live. They can obviously search by country. They can look in all the specific countries. They can zoom in on a country, see what listings are there. And it also allows us, this is the important part, it allows us as agents to collaborate with agents in other areas. So if I've got a buyer for somewhere, I can go on here and I can start collaborating with the agents there. So international collaboration amongst us as EXP agents is becoming one of our biggest advantages, actually, in my opinion, over the traditional competition. Okay, now apart from all of this exposure, local and global and all of this exposure, your company's brand is important. But what this slide is about is that every agent is very important. You also need your own personal brand, and you need your own professional online presence. And we've got to realize we're really actually in business for ourselves. Okay, we are business people, we are entrepreneurs. So what's important to know is that clients want to see who you are, and they want to see what you offer, not just the brand, because they're going to be working with you. And they want to know why they should trust you personally. So often your online profile is actually their first impression, okay, long before you speak to them. Or once you've spoken to them, then they may be choosing between a few agents. They will go and stalk you. They will look at your online profile and see who looks the best. So that's why having your own branded website is actually an extremely powerful tool. Okay, so your marketing should work for you 24/7, even while you sleep. And remember, marketing is not just marketing listings. You've got to also market you as an agent. Okay, so this is mainly the thing. So clients don't really choose companies anymore. That's becoming clearer and clearer. They are choosing people. They're connecting with people. Okay. So in today's world, if people can't find you online, you personally, with some good information about you, it's as though you almost don't exist. Okay. Now, this is where we have every EXP agent receives their own personal microsite. Okay. So it's basically like your own professional online website. Okay. Very simple to create. So you simply log in from Octave, you'll see there, and then you create your own microsite. So this is something every agent should have, no matter where they work. You should have your own website of some sorts. Okay, so I'm going to show you a bit about it and just talk quickly about it. So the main thing is, when you got your own microsite, you can obviously simply send clients your personal website link, okay? And then your microsite allows them to browse all your listings, and they get to know you instantly as well through all your other information on your website. It also acts as your digital business card, and that's always up to date and sort of easy to share with people. It's just a link, you share it, and they've got all your details and listings and information, etc. So what's nice is obviously buyers, if you send it to buyers, they can look at your listings and follow your listings directly. And then, of course, sellers can see your full marketing presence. And this helps you to stand out as a professional agent in a very, very crowded market these days. All right, so your microsite is basically your sort of always available online listing presentation, if you will. Right, let's have a quick look at this. Is this, yes, this is a video. So here I've got a little bit of a video. This is a microsite I created for us. You'll see at the top there, that's the link we simply share. In Lydia's case, it's me.expsouthafrica.co.za/Lydia. Copy that link, send it to anybody on WhatsApp or whatever, and they come straight to Lydia's personal microsite. And this was set up in the back end very, very easily. Every agent can do it. And then this is basically what it looks like. So I'm going to also do a quick video so you can just sort of get an idea of what it looks like. So there you'll see, I mean, very professional looking. As you'll see, there's all our listings fed through from PropCon, obviously. So it shows all your listings. It shows a bit of a biography about yourself over there. It's also got a more detailed about us section, which you can click on. So basically everything a client needs about you in one place. And you can share this link via WhatsApp, email, social media, very, very easily and within seconds. Okay, as you look at the top there, there's the About Us section. So here you could have, it's like a separate web page, more info about you can put on there. All very professional. As you always see at the bottom, you've also got your social media links. And then your blog. You see, I clicked there on the blog. So you can add articles to your website. So you can go and consistently add new articles and information about your area or seller tips, etc. So in my case, okay, I do a lot of videos through all the years. So for me, that's what I basically did. I mean, I'll go and put every single video with a whole, and now this is just, I mean, this is fantastic because this is stuff you can also send later on to your clients. So they get a newsletter from you with that specific article. But once they on that article, they also see again, oh, but we're on Lydia's website now, and they start browsing around, etc. So it's really, this is often the first impression your clients will actually have of you. And I mean, what a good first impression that is. Okay, makes you definitely stand out. All right. Now, portals are important, but they're not enough. Right, so even though we've got all the local portals and all the international portals, when you're marketing your listings, obviously these portals are essential. We all use them and we must use them. But they have their limitations. Okay, portals will only reach buyers who are actively searching right now. They actually have to go onto that portal. So to see your listing, yes, they have to go onto the portal and they have to search in your listing specific suburb, and they have to probably search in your listing specific price range. And if they're not doing that, they're not going to see your listing. Okay. Also, if they're not actually actively searching right now, even though they might buy if they saw the right property, then your listings simply don't exist to them. And that's where there's a huge gap. All right. So portals work when buyers are actually searching. But your other marketing, which we're going to be discussing now, works when they're not necessarily searching. Okay. This is where you start talking about social media paid ads, as opposed to your organic ads, which is one thing. We'll talk about that as well. So, okay, people's attention has shifted, as you see there on that slide. All right. People are not sitting on property portals necessarily all day, but where are they? They're definitely on social media. I mean, that you know. People are on social media. They're on Facebook. They're on Instagram and so forth. So if you want to reach people, you need to go where their attention already is. And that is where social media paid ads can work for you. Right. So if you look at that sort of distinction there between portals and paid ads. Firstly, I must just say, we've been using paid social media marketing for a very long time, ourselves, myself and Lydia. Okay, I've been, long before the system I'm going to show you now, which makes it much easier, I've been using Facebook in the back end, creating ads for many years. Okay, and we have huge success from these ads. So again, just looking at that slide, so your portals are passive. You post a listing and you wait. And also, while you're waiting, you are competing with many other similar listings, hoping that the right buyer searches and contacts you. Okay. Now, paid ads on the other side are proactive. You basically, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be pushing the listing to the right people by targeting them based on their recent behaviors and interests, etc. And so you will reach buyers who may not be actively searching yet, or haven't seen your listing yet, or are simply searching, but they're not searching in exactly the area where your listing is, even though they might buy there if they knew about it. So you often reach buyers in this way before they even start searching as well. Okay, they might not even be searching yet, but they definitely got it in their minds, and they've started looking for bonds and stuff. And so the history online is there so that you can target them. And this is very, very powerful. Okay. But also important now to remember that organic social media posts, that's just the social media that you just post on your feed, on your profile. So you just don't post something on your Facebook. That organic social media post, those posts have very limited reach actually. Okay. Facebook and Instagram have to make money somewhere, right? So they are actually pay for play platforms. Some of your followers might see your ads, your posts on your organic, but the people who matter will not. So it's important again to remember that they have very limited reach. Facebook does want people to pay if they want to really have success. So basically another way of putting it is, let's put it this way. Okay, just the distinction if you look at that slide. Portals are waiting for buyers to come to them. Your targeted ads, when done correctly, are going out and they're going to find buyers for you. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Anyway, now the problem is, so some agents think they will lose money if they do paid ads. And sometimes you spend money and it doesn't necessarily bear immediate return. But let me say this very clearly, that most agents don't lose money on ads, they actually lose money on bad ads. All right. They lose money because the ad is shown to the wrong people, or the ad creative, how it looks, doesn't really catch attention properly, or there's no proper follow-up system in place. Okay, so the money doesn't disappear. It just basically, the money that you're spending on the ads doesn't disappear. It just produces views with no outcome. Okay, you are getting views, but there's no outcome, and for various reasons. When ads are done properly, however, and with the right system, they become much more predictable. Okay, and they become much less of a gamble. So we're going to be looking at that. So we have a system that we use, which is called flow marketing. It's the flow system. Okay. So again, I'm saying this, meta ads are very, very powerful, the Facebook and Instagram ads. But the back end, which I've been doing for many years to create these ads, is very technical within Facebook's back end business system and ads manager, etc. It's very technical and it's easy to waste money if you don't know what you're doing. Now, the flow marketing system that we use fixes the three things that usually cause ads to fail, which is firstly targeting. Okay, targeting is making sure that you are showing the ad to the right people that would possibly be likely to buy. So this is the most important part of it. But secondly, your creative, okay, your media, what the actual ad looks like. So you need to be creating ads with good visuals and wording that actually catch attention, okay? And then the follow-up. So once you've actually got somebody looking and you get leads, you need to make sure that those leads don't just go and die quietly, right? So the follow-up is very important. So basically, this makes paid ads much easier and far more predictable, okay, the flow system. And to sum up, the problem is usually not the marketing, as I've mentioned, it's the system behind the marketing, all right? So it is difficult, but the flow system now makes it very, very easy to target the right people. So again, from your Octus system, we simply click on flow and we go straight in. Obviously, our flow, one thing to mention, the subscription to the system, which makes it easier for you, is free for us as EXP agents. Obviously, when you do place ads, you need to pay Facebook. So that ad spend is for your account if you do use these ads. Okay. And obviously, it depends on how much you budget and how much you want to spend. All right. So Flow removes most of the complexity of running these paid ads. So it integrates directly, firstly, with your listings in PropCon, as I showed you. You simply click the button and your listing will feed through to the Flow system. So then it pulls through and it's automatically, and it just sits there waiting for you if you wanted to use paid ads. And then what the system does is it targets people based on real property-related behavior and interests. So, people's behavior is being tracked online. We know that. So based on their recent property-related behavior and interests, the ads will be optimized to be shown to people like that. So you don't need to be a Meta or a Facebook ads technician or expert. This system is designed to help agents produce professional ads quickly and consistently. Okay. So again, the goal here is not to become a Facebook or Meta or Instagram marketing expert. It's simply to be connected to great marketing systems that can do that for you. Okay, so again, with Flow, you don't actually build the campaigns from scratch. Okay, there's certain things you will have an input in, but you simply select the listing firstly that you want to promote, which is now fed through from PropCon, and then you click generate. It's sort of plug and play. Okay, it removes all the technical barriers that stop most agents from running ads properly. So this type of technology and this system is really used to remove the complexity of running successful paid ads. So here's one of the powerful parts. You get to choose the areas you want to target, okay, and then age groups, etc. So you don't only get to target the suburb where the property is located, which is basically what the portals do, okay. You can also target similar suburbs, other relocation markets, and people based on their recent online behavior. So you're going to be able to attract buyers who are not necessarily looking in your area on the portals, but they could buy there. So many buyers then, in other words, who would buy your listing, never see it on the portals. This is what I've mentioned, because they're searching in different suburbs. Okay, portals are very location-based. Now, these ads are behavior-based, not only location-based. So this marketing is about finding buyers and not waiting for buyers. All right, so it expands your reach very, very strategically. Right, so in there, I'm not going to go into depth, but you can also tweak the ad wording, etc. You simply choose a listing, it pulls up all the listing details. You can then change the wording a bit if you want. You can switch between photos of that specific listing, adjust the headline, choose your budget. Obviously, once you're happy with the ad, then you'll choose your budget and then you simply launch the ad. Okay, it's very easy to control, it's very simple, and it's very fast. And the Flow marketing system takes care of the back-end technical part, which is making sure it's targeting people that are showing the correct property type of interest online, etc. All right. So this is what the buyer actually sees on their phone, obviously on their PC as well. When they're busy scrolling, you know that you see a sponsored ad. Okay. So if they match the targeting that's been set up, they will then now see your listing. So you're not waiting for buyers to find your listing anymore. Your listing is now going and finding the buyers. So I say again, on the portals, you're waiting for buyers to find your listing. With this marketing, your listing goes out and finds the buyers for you. All right. Now, the other nice thing is when someone clicks on your ad, they don't just go straight to you based on the one photo they saw on the ad, and then it's just a cold lead. They first go to a fully branded landing page within the Flow marketing system. Okay, and that landing page then has, again, the full property description, all the photos, video, if you have one, etc. So by the time that they contact you, these leads, they'll have seen all of that. So then when they contact you, they're actually a warm lead, not just someone clicking randomly because of one nice photo. Okay. So this strong landing page significantly basically improves the quality of our leads. All right, so the goal is not to get more inquiries. The goal is actually to get better inquiries. Okay, and then obviously there you can see you've got analytics and things. You can see how many views, how many clicks, what the engagement has been. This helps you to improve your future listings, obviously. But again, now just cannot reiterate enough the difference between portals and paid ads. When you combine them both, now you start dominating in the market, okay, and you expanding your reach and your visibility. All right. And once again, it's not only about marketing the listing. When the sellers hear about your strategy, you will win the mandate. And remember also, when you're doing this in your areas and you're doing paid ads, your sellers are also seeing those ads. Very, very important. Okay, so it's not only reaching buyers, because your sellers have also been looking at property-related stuff, and they will also be targeted, in other words, because their online behavior warrants it. Okay. Anyway, you can track the performance there. That's great. Okay. The main thing is, I'm just telling you, this type of marketing not only sells houses, it also wins mandates. And then very, very important, actually very excited about this. Our Flow system is soon going to include Google Ads integration as well, directly inside the system. They're busy working on that right now. Now, Google Ads are also extremely powerful, but if you want to know a technical type of ad to set up, that's Google Ads. Okay, I did that years ago, and basically left it. I mean, you need to set up the right keywords, but you also need to set up the right keyword phrases. Then you need to set up negative keywords and negative keywords, phrases, and all this really needs to be done properly. Otherwise, you can waste money very, very quickly. But if it's done correctly, they are very, very effective. Okay. Anyway, so coming soon, instead of only running social media ads, we'll also be able to combine the social media ads with search advertising all inside our one flow system. And that's going to really expand our reach. Okay, it's going to be huge, I believe, and the agents who will win in the future will be the agents who control the most visibility, quite obviously. Right, now, great marketing needs great design. Marketing only really works when the design looks professional and trustworthy. Okay, now most agents don't have the time or the design skills to put out good material. And that's why tools like Canva Pro are so valuable, where you can produce high quality marketing very, very easily, okay, in minutes, without relying on outside designers and having to wait for them and pay them, etc. And remember that people will judge your professionalism by the quality of your marketing. Whatever they see out there from you is how they're going to judge you. So your professional design is very important, and it's very important to elevate your brand by making sure that anything you put out there is professional. Okay, now we all have access to Canva Pro. Canva is, in my opinion, absolutely the benchmark for digital design made easy. Okay, anyway, from October, we have one click and we're in. So just quickly, I'm not going to go into depth. Canva Pro, this allows us to create polished professional marketing very quickly of any sort. Okay, from social media posts to property brochures and presentations, your flyers, your newsletters, boards, anything. Everything is drag and drop and very easy to use. Okay, and the templates and all the branding tools really save a huge amount of time and money, and then help keep your personal brand consistent and visible. All right, so within Canva, you've also got a Magic Studio, and this just adds multiple artificial intelligence AI tools to your design workflow. So you can remove backgrounds, you can clean up images, lighten and brighten them, you can replace objects within an image, you can even generate images simply from words, okay, in the AI Magic Studio. And all this is done in seconds. So it turns what used to be complicated work for us, or we couldn't even do it, we had to pay someone to do it and wait for it. But anyway, it turns that complicated design work into very simple actions. So any agent can now produce high quality marketing in minutes, basically, without needing professional design skills of their own. Okay, and what's also nice is because EXP has the largest, I think one of the largest enterprise accounts at Canva, so you don't only have access to all Canva's millions templates, EXP also has their own library of pre-designed EXP branded Canva templates within Canva, which then makes it just even easier for us as agents to get branded stuff. So, I mean, there you would have, I mean, everything. It's already on brand, modern, easy to customize. So I'm just going to click through them from social media posts and newsletters and seller guides, boards, and just anything you can think of. So it saves a lot of time, keeps our marketing consistent across all platforms. And this consistency, obviously, remember, when you're consistent with your branding, it also helps build recognition amongst people out there. And eventually they actually recognize you as a brand, your own personal brand. Okay. Now, after all this marketing and lead generation, we've been lead generating and we've been nurturing and we've been marketing. Now, hopefully, we are sure to be making sales, right? So the next step is actually managing all our transactions, which are now flying in the door. Now, as you all know, obviously, every property transaction has many stages and many parties and deadlines. And so without a proper system, things can also, again, easily fall through the cracks. So that's why, in my opinion, proper deal tracking is very, very essential. Because, as I've said, I mean, generating the sale is one thing, but managing the sale properly is what actually protects your commission and also your reputation later on. So again, we use PropCon for our deal tracking. So PropCon is where we can basically manage our deals and track all of our transactions from start to finish. Okay, it gives you a structured visual type of dashboard for all your deals, and And now here you can track milestones. You can link all the necessary parties if necessary. You can store relevant documents all in one place for that specific deal. So it really does keep everything organized from the time that you sign the offer right through to registration. Also, obviously, helps reduce stress tremendously, okay? And it helps to prevent mistakes that could be very, very costly. Right, so again, obviously, you know, from here, Okta, we go straight into PropCon. This time we're in deal tracking, the menu over there. So pretty much, again, I'm not going to go through too much detail here, but once you're inside a specific deal, again, everything is organized in all the menu tabs at the top. Okay, so it's pretty self-explanatory, really. There are all the tabs. So, for instance, I mean, in the info section, you'll be able to, I'm just going to go back there. Sorry, there we go. So in the info section up top, there's something similar to listings, but in the info section, you would actually load all the details of the deal, such as the sales price and the commission, any commission splits if that's applicable, and so on and so forth, so that our transaction team knows exactly what's going on. It is also a drive section at the top there, much like the listings also had. So there you upload all your documents for that specific deal. Clients' IDs, property condition reports, OTPs, other documents, anything. Okay, so it's all nicely in one place. So everything for that transaction is neatly bundled and ready for action. Right, and then as you'll see at the top there, there's a little green button. So once you've loaded everything and everything is in place, you simply click the green button at the top to notify the EXP transaction team, and then the transaction team is immediately informed, and they can start checking that everything is in order and check the compliance and so on. All right. So you're not handling everything alone. They are there to make sure that you stay compliant so that there's no problems later on. Right. But speaking of that, compliance. It's a word us agents don't like to hear. But of course, you've made lots of transactions now from all your lead generation and marketing, and the transactions are flowing in. And with that comes a lot of compliance responsibility. Okay, I mean, compliance is really one of the biggest stress points for most of us South African agents, because the laws are very strict and they're getting stricter. And any mistakes can be very costly, and they can attract hefty penalties for both the agency and the agent. We're seeing this a lot these days. Really, if the FIC, for instance, knocks in and you've got problems, then it can be very, very expensive. But if you've got the right systems in place, then compliance becomes a bit simpler and definitely safer, okay, making sure you are compliant. So let's look at how we actually handle specifically FICA properly and responsibly. Because this really is about, very important, it's about protecting yourself and your commission and also your clients, okay. So we've got a system that we call DocFox. These days it's known as Encino KYC. Know your client. Okay, Encino KYC. So we use that system. We sort of like to refer to it as DocFox because it was the original name. And we use this for our FICA compliance, which basically, again, integrates directly through Okta when you have access. So now we can ask clients and then they can actually upload their documents securely themselves, if that's how you prefer to do it. Or you can obviously collect the documents and you can capture the documents themselves on their behalf on the system. And the system automatically runs the required screening checks in the background. This is important. Okay, so including checks against like what you call the UN, United Nations sanctions lists, South African targeted financial sanctions lists, if you haven't heard of that, or your PEP, politically exposed persons lists. There's a lot of things we are supposed to be doing, and if we're not doing them and you get caught out later on, you're in big trouble. So the whole FICA process now with the system actually becomes structured and much more compliant and much safer for you as the agent and also for your clients. Okay, because in real estate these days, compliance is not just an admin box you need to tick. It's actually a vital risk that we have to manage for ourselves. Okay. So again, as I said, we simply click in there. I'm not going to run into this into detail, just a glimpse of what an FICA compliance interface looks like. It's nice and clean and structured, very easy to follow. So agents can actually upload the necessary documents. Then you can monitor the risk checks that are done on the left-hand side menu, and you can see the status updates in real time. So what's nice is, again, I'll mention that the system now checks clients against the required lists, such as the UN sanctions lists and the all sorts of terrorist financing lists, etc. and the PEP, politically exposed people's lists. So the system is checking for you, and it'll flag the person if they are found on that list so that you know. Very important, really. Most agents we see are not, they don't even know whether this is being done, and most agencies are not doing it. But if a client appears on one of these sanctions or PEP lists and the proper checks were not done by you, it can have extremely serious consequences for both the agent and the agency. You can have huge fines. You can even lose your license to trade. Okay. So this system turns something that can be very stressful into a structured and safe process for us. It doesn't take away the responsibility of doing FICA, but it makes it so that you know you're doing it correctly and safely. Okay. Now, another thing we just touch on is bridging finance. There you see sellers and agents often need access to funds before transfer. Bridging finance is very common in property transactions. Okay. Sometimes sellers will need funds before transfer for certain expenses. Okay. I'll give you a few examples just now. But then also, of course, as agents, I'm sure many of us know, agents sometimes need commission advances just to manage cash flow between deals. I mean, we are a bit of an up and down business. So we use a very simple and a paperless bridging finance solution, which we have access to, that makes these situations so much easier and helps keep transactions moving smoothly. Okay. So again, okay, the system's called Snapit, and it provides really fast, as I said, definitely paperless bridging finance for sellers as well as agents. So if you, for instance, refer your sellers to Snapit, they can access funds before transfer for things like, maybe it's for compliance certificates, maybe it's for moving costs they need to pay, maybe they agreed in an OTP to do certain major repairs and they haven't got the money to do it, or maybe they need a deposit to put down on their next property, or whatever the case may be. Sometimes they need access to funds and their deal is already final. Now you can refer them to Snapit. Okay. On the other hand, agents can also access commission advances before registration. So, you know how we know the situation. So this is basically, it helps us sort of manage cash flow between deals. Sometimes you've got a bit of a lull and you just need a bit of an advance of a deal that's going to be registering soon. And it's nice and it's quick and it's paperless and it's really fully digital. Okay. Obviously, the more problems like this you can solve for clients, when they suddenly need something, you say, no problem, we'll sort it out for you. So the more problems you can solve for your clients like this, the more valuable you become. Okay, and that's great for future business again as well. And then what's really, really nice is, as EXP agents, we get referral fees for this as well. So, you know, Snapit, when they actually get business through us and you referred someone, you will get a little proportion of their profit as a referral fee, which is then a nice additional income for us as agents. Okay, again, Snapit, boom, in through Octa, as simple as that. And there you'll see, I mean, there's all sorts of types of snaps, seller snaps. These days, a lot of new solar things that sellers can have access to as well for solar and renovations, etc. I'm not going to go into detail in that. And then on the right, there's the commission snap. That's for an agent. So it's a very simple process once you're in the app. Okay. Now here's something else. We all know this type of situation. Things can get messy and so on. So you're in a situation, maybe you got a hot listing. You get multiple buyers. And suddenly your phone doesn't stop ringing. Sorry. Now you know all this. I mean, then suddenly there's timing pressures and buyers become all emotional and the paperwork becomes messy and it actually becomes difficult to manage everything properly. Okay, and especially managing everybody's expectations. And this is often where deals fall apart or where misunderstandings happen and you get a bad reputation unnecessarily. So it's not because we're bad agents, but it's because we're trying to manage a very complex and chaotic process sometimes, and we're trying to manage that manually. Okay. So the question becomes, how can we do this better and more efficiently? How do we fix this problem? We have a system called EXP's iBid Digital Offer System. The name iBid doesn't mean it has to be a bidding system. I'll explain that just now. So the solution is that, okay, EXP's digital offer system. Instead of chasing buyers across WhatsApps, emails, and phone calls, etc., when you have these situations, we can simply use iBid to manage offers digitally in one structured system in a structured way. So this is very, very helpful especially when it's firstly difficult to meet multiple buyers at the same time sometimes, right? They all need to see you now. Or even when it is simply difficult to find a mutually convenient time. So even if you've only got one buyer, but you can't find a mutually convenient time, then this can also help. Or of course, when you have multiple offers on a property, and this is where you're running around like crazy and not getting to everybody, and people feel you're treating them unfairly, etc. So this will save you a lot of time, greatly reduce stress, and it really brings structure to what is normally a very messy and emotional process. Okay, so this is a great example of how our systems again turn sort of chaos into structure and improve the level of service we can provide. So pretty much this is how it works. So when a buyer wants to make an offer, you simply send them a secure link, and the system guides them step by step through the entire offer process. It asks all the required questions. Like how much is your offer, and how much do you need bond for? Do you need to sell a property? Everything. Okay. And then it compiles a structured offer to purchase digitally, beautifully and automatically. And then all documents like the property condition report, a fixtures list if you wanted that as well, and any other documents you want the buyer to take note of are also included in this process and must be acknowledged by the buyer inside the process. So eventually it produces a perfect OTP. Nothing is missing and nothing is unclear. This is simply basically when you send someone an invitation because they told you they want to make an offer, you just send them a link. You say, great, man, just click on this link and just submit all the details. So he receives a nice clean invitation email, looks pretty much like this. They simply click the link and they are then guided step by step through the offer process. No meeting at this stage required between you and them to draft the offer. And the whole process is structured from the start. And of course, then if there are multiple buyers, it really makes a huge difference because it does save you and them a lot of time and stress. Okay, but as I said, you can also use the system even if there's only one buyer. It still makes the process easier and more structured and convenient for everybody. Okay, and then once the process is complete, there you go. The offer to purchase is simply beautifully digitally structured by the system and then signed digitally by the buyer. And yes, I know the Alienation of Land Act still does not require, still allow digital signatures, and it wants wet ink signatures. And we will take care of the wet ink signatures. But at this stage, at least, the agreement is already clean and structured and just aligned with everything. And all the buyer's intentions are already sort of digitally signed and recorded with very little fuss on your part or the buyer's part. Okay, it was very quick, very easy, and you've got a structured OTP. So whether you now have one offer or multiple offers, everything's organized, everything's clear, and now simply getting the wet ink signatures later on becomes the easy part, actually. All right. So the main thing is, as things progress, the system also automatically keeps buyers informed at every single stage of the process. So all along the process, buyers will be receiving confirmation emails, sort of when the offer is submitted, any updates during the process. If you're using a bidding type of setup, they're now also informed of the final outcome or of extra bids that have come in. So eventually nobody feels ignored and nobody feels unfairly treated. Everything's transparent, and transparency is really built into this whole process. And this reduces misunderstandings and protects you as the agent. And the main thing is when everybody knows what's happening and they feel they are being treated fairly, suddenly lots of our problems disappear. Okay. So again, once the buyer and the seller are in agreement, we simply obtain the required wet ink signatures. But by this stage, I mean, everything's completely structured and aligned and agreed. So you just simply get the signatures. That becomes more of a formality, and then the whole process is smooth, has been smooth and simple. Okay, and you haven't wasted your time unnecessarily as well with sort of bogus low offers, etc. Okay. As I mentioned, ARBID's not only for multiple offers. Okay, even in single offer situations, as you'll see there, it ensures that the offer is nice and complete and structured and just keeps everything professional. But when there are multiple buyers, we can also choose to run a bidding process. You choose either an open bidding process or a sealed bidding process. Open meaning as bids come in, all the bidders know what the highest bid is, etc. Or a sealed bidding process, everybody just makes their bid, but nobody knows what the other one was. Anyway, you set all this up at the start, and it creates fair competition in this type of bidding situation, and it removes any suspicion. That's the big thing. people become suspicious. I mean, are you treating me fairly, or are you favoring another buyer, etc.? So firstly, okay, sellers can now clearly see all the offers, and any backup offers can be secured as well, because they might have multiple offers in a bidding situation. Everything's structured, transparent, controlled. Yeah, and that just builds really, really serious trust for you with both buyers and sellers, and nobody feels they've been done in. Okay. So for buyers, they really like the system because the process is basically, it's fair and it's transparent. Okay, they submit structured offers, they receive proper updates. There's no suspicion, as I've mentioned, that somebody else was favored. So it all creates a very professional and a modern buying experience. And when these buyers feel they're treated fairly, they usually behave more seriously and more respectfully as well. And that's great for us as agents. Okay, but it's not just about convenience and saving time. Okay. Again, with all these tools, the tools help us, but the tools do more than that. It's also about, again, positioning yourself as the go-to agent for your sellers. When you can show a seller that you manage offers transparently, and that buyers are treated fairly, and that all your offers are, very, very structured, etc., and that everything is really properly controlled and fair, again, then you immediately elevate yourself above your competition. So again, you are then no longer just another agent that takes offers manually. They now really see you as a professional agent with superior systems, which is what they're expecting, and superior processes. And so that again becomes a huge differentiator, one of my favorite words, right? The differentiator in your listing descriptions, your listing presentations. When you're doing listing presentations, this can make you stand out. All these little things add up. Okay, so systems like this don't just help you manage your current offers, they actually help you to win future listings. Right. Now moving on to a bit of communication and staying organized. So good communication tools are very essential in any real estate company. WhatsApp groups can get messy very quickly. Emails are coming in by the dozen and sometimes get lost in the masses. We all know those problems. That's why a proper structured communication platform is very, very important within a company. So at EXP, this is all handled through what we call a system called Slack, and also the EXP Hub, which is now just being completed, which keeps internal communication all organized and searchable and easy to follow. Okay, and this is important because in our modern environment, in a modern real estate company, information and communication just must be organized and searchable and easy to access. They're just talking about Slack. Slack is a very well-known system, and we all have access to that, and connects us basically to almost 90,000 other EXP agents worldwide as well. Also connects us to our company management and leadership. So within Slack, there are groups for every country. You can have groups by region, by the speciality, whatever type of speciality you specialize in, residential, luxury, whatever. You can have groups. You can have groups by topic. So if you have a question or need advice, or you want to collaborate with somebody, there's always someone available depending on what you need. So you can ask questions, you can share referrals worldwide, you can brainstorm ideas, and you can work with agents across the world in real time. So all this really makes the entire international EXP network feel alive and connected and accessible. And that's absolutely great. And again, you simply go through, and from Okta, you're right in. Okay, enough about that. Let's target our next problem. Constantly hunting for the right documents. So this is a very common pain point with agents. We've picked up many over the years as well, is finding the right documents when you actually need them. So you've all had that situation where you're looking for the correct OTP or the correct mandate or addendum or property condition report or whatever compliance document, and you're not sure if you're using the latest version. I mean, you want to know that you're using the latest and correct one. So proper organization reduces mistakes and reduces stress. And how do we take care of this? We basically have what we call the agent center. I'll show it to you quickly. And this is where all the latest documents are online. Okay, they're stored online in one place, so you always know exactly where the correct OTP is, where the correct mandate is, addendums, any other documents, FICA documents, etc. So you can access this from anywhere, no matter where you are, because it's online. Even on your phone, you can download the documents. So you don't have to ask anyone to send them to you or wait for the replies or anything like that. Okay, all very convenient, and it also reduces your compliance risk because you know you're using the correct stuff and correct documents. So once again, you simply go in from Okta into the Agent Center, and there you are. Over there, you simply navigate using the menus at the top, and you can find everything you need. That's just an example of where the office documents are. In other words, this is where all your OTPs and your mandates and so on. You simply click on the document, find the one you want, click on it, download it, and you've got the latest version. And then what's also very nice is you actually have a section for company documents as well at your fingertips when anybody asks for them. So let's take, for instance, often a conveyancer will ask you for your company's FFC and maybe even your principal's FFC. And of course, you need to make sure you had the latest one because they obviously get renewed every 3 years and so on. So instead of asking someone to make sure you quickly look and you say, oh dear, the one I've got is the old one, instead of having to ask someone or trying to go and find it or whatever, you simply go into the Agent Center, download it, and send it off immediately. So all very efficient, and you know exactly where everything is. Okay, there's also a section for logos and branding guidelines, which are very important. And then there's even a link there for a Canva toolkit, which offers training and resources and so on Canva. So again, everything is all in one place, just makes our lives much, much easier. All right. I want to start moving on to the next section, which is section 3. So we're going to be talking about tools and systems. Look, the big thing is the tools and systems that we've been speaking about, they all help you work smarter. Okay, and I think we can agree on that by now, definitely. So far, we've looked at all the systems and tools that we use for lead generation and lead nurturing, what we use for listing and marketing properties properly and getting global exposure. And then also building our personal brand, we looked at that. And all of this ultimately helps you to win more listings and grow your business. But now we're going to move on to the next section, which is more about support and training and your personal agent growth, which is very, very important. Because the tools that we discussed are very important, but what also builds long-term stable businesses for us as agents is making sure you've got the correct support, making sure you're staying relevant in the market, making sure you're getting continuous, up-to-date and relevant training and learning systems, and that you can improve your skills. Okay, and that you, as I said, you're being sort of supported by the correct ecosystem. Right, as I said, section 3 then. So this is really about how agents grow steadily and sustainable. And how do you make sure you're going into the future and your business will be sustainable? You've got to grow, you've got to keep up with the times. Okay, and then also how can we get the support we need, not only when someone else happens to be available. Okay, so we're going to be looking at all of this, training and lots of AI tools, virtual offices. We also touch on some of the multiple income streams that you can earn. And all of this is what really sets this whole model apart. Okay, let's just say that all of these things work together to create a whole sort of environment where us as agents can scale and grow our businesses over time without burning out, okay, and staying with the times. Because our goal obviously should not just be to survive year to year. Okay, it must be to build businesses that can become easier actually and more stable over time. Right, so let's first talk about education and training. Training is extremely important in our industry because agents who stay educated and receive relevant and up-to-date training will almost always outperform agents who don't. And you'll see that the most successful agents in the world are always busy learning. That's very important to take note of. Now, the nice thing about modern training today, if you have access to it, is that there are really sort of no boundaries anymore. You can learn almost anything you need, anytime and from anywhere. Okay, so there should also be training available for every level, obviously. Whether you're a brand new agent or you're a very experienced agent, you need training for your level if you want to grow further. So the real question here is, it's not really whether the training exists. The real question is whether you actually have access to the right, relevant, up-to-date training. Because our industry is changing fast all the time. I mean, this is what we're doing right now. It's changing fast, and the agents who don't keep learning are going to fall behind. Okay, so in our environment, we have training sessions running live every single week. Live trainings, firstly. They are often also repeated so that no one misses out. Then we also have what we call EXP University, which gives us on-demand training with both global and local content. Then a very nice thing also is that top producers in EXP called Icon agents. So as I've mentioned quite a lot earlier, Icon is the highest production level you can reach in XP. Now those agents are encouraged and they're actually rewarded to teach the other agents what is working for them right now in the current market. That's done in a very easy way, sort of with our national coach. He'll just interview them, and etc. But so you learn from what's happening right now in the market with the successful agents. So that means that training is practical and sort of real world focused, if you want to call it that. Okay, because the main thing is what we really need these days, you need to stay continuously educated. Okay. And these are all designed for real world application, not just theory. Okay, on that note, let's just say well done for attending webinars, well, like the ChatGPT and AI sessions that we run, and then even this one, because that already shows that you are the type of agent who wants to stay current and keep improving. So well done. And if you continue doing that, you'll always have an advantage over those who do. Just keep it up. Okay, here's an example. Within Okta, you can go straight to EXP University. Here's just a glimpse really of EXP University. There's actually such a lot in there if you start browsing around. So everything is structured into categories like marketing or lead generation or increasing production and much more. Okay, so it's really easy to find the training you need. I mean, just there on this example, you'll see, the AI accelerator training. That was one of the newer training series that helps agents stay up to date with everything that's happening in the industry with regards to artificial intelligence. So the nice thing is you can really jump into any course at any time. So these first get done live and you can actually attend them every week. And after that, they're available for you. So then you can just work through it at your own pace, which really makes your sort of professional development and keeping up to date very simple and easy. Okay. There's another one over there. Now, this is the South African agent learning part. So when you go into there from Okta, so where EXP University is more global and sort of general training that applies to anybody, we also have what we call the South African agent learning pods. This is specifically tailored for the South African agents and our local market. So, you know, these learning paths will guide both new and experienced agents step by step, depending on where they are in their businesses and on their specific level of experience. So you're never really left wondering what you should learn next. It's always right there, and there are structured pathways depending on where you are in your career. And of course, we also obviously have our YouTube channel where a lot of the weekly and local training and information sessions are recorded, including sessions led by our national coach. So there's a large library of pre-recorded training available there as well. All right. Now we're moving on from training to support. We all know as agents, we need fast and reliable support. Okay. So here we're going to be getting to something that's actually very exciting for me, especially compared to traditional agencies. Agents need this fast and reliable support, as I said, but, or not but, let's just say firstly, if things go wrong, where do you go? You need answers quickly sometimes. And if we're honest, support is actually a weakness in most traditional agencies. They try to think it's not because they've got officers and staff sitting there, supposedly. But it is often a weakness because you often depend on someone actually being in the office and being available at the right time for you. So agents need real answers and they need fast solutions. But the question is, where do we go for instant support? You all know we're cloud-based, so we don't walk into a physical office. But this is where it gets exciting. So what I'm about to show you now is this is basically like having a full support office in your pocket, okay, or on your laptop, right there. Wherever you are, your support is. Okay. What's very, very nice, I mean, I like this slide because it explains the difference very simply. So our support is support without traffic. It's support without waiting. Okay, it's support without stress. You don't have to drive anywhere. You don't have to sit waiting in an office. Basically, you can work from anywhere without sacrificing the support or training that you need. Wherever you are, you can also get the support that you need. So suddenly your office is wherever you are, and your support structure is wherever you are. So for many agents, this is absolutely life-changing. It was for us, for sure. Okay, so I'm going to be introducing EXP World to you. This is where support becomes completely different from anything you've ever seen. Okay. EXP World, it's basically, as I've mentioned, a full support system in your pocket, right, on your phone or on your laptop. So within EXP World, there's a reception area. You've got specialized departments, depending what you need, meeting rooms, boardrooms, even auditoriums. Everything you will ever need is in EXP World. If you need help with listings or transactions, or you need technical support or anything else, you simply walk into the virtual office. I mean, this is simply it's a link on the internet, and you just click and you're in, all right? You simply walk into the virtual office and you speak to someone. There's no getting dressed up. You don't have to drive anywhere. You just walk into the online office and there's always someone available there to help you quickly. This is absolutely amazing when you see it in action. Okay, so again, from Okta, you can simply click in there, but it is just a link on the internet. Ooh, actually, I'm just going to share a tab because otherwise you won't hear the sound. I'm going to play a quick video just so you can see what it looks like in the world. So let me quickly present the tab rather. Right. Okay, I'm going to play a quick video. You can just give me a thumbs up if you can at least hear the volume.
Hello, Andre. How are you?
Hi, Irene. Very well, thanks. And you?
Good, good, good. How can I help you?
Man, I'm actually just taking a couple of agents on a tour of all the offices. So I'll go ahead and you must have a wonderful day.
Fantastic. If you have any questions, please don't be shy to come and visit me at the reception.
Thanks so much, Irene. Thanks a lot. Bye. Okay, so that was just a recording I made when I was in the world. So we don't have to go in there now. I'm just going to go back to my presentation quickly. Here we go. There we go. So, I mean, as you saw there, while I was walking away from the reception area, you could see the support offices and so on. So there are dedicated offices for all management and support departments. Every single one of our staff members and management members has an office where you can go. So if you need help, you simply walk into the online offices, you ask your question, and a real person is going to help you immediately. You go to the reception, they'll steer you in the right direction. So that level of quick and direct access to support is actually, it's quite rare, but probably actually non-existent in our area, in our industry. Okay, so it really changes the way you work because you're never stuck with a problem for too long. We know the situation. You go into an office because you need help and the person is not there because they had to run out for something. You know, whatever the problem is, a personal problem or something, and then there you are stuck. Yeah, not the case. Okay. Staff offices. So each one of the offices works exactly like a real meeting room. So depending who you need to see, you go and meet them in their office. Over there, you could share your screen with them. They will guide you with this, obviously, show exactly what you're struggling with. If they need to, they can share their screen and help you solve problems right on the spot. So it's really hands-on type of support without ever needing to travel anywhere. Okay, it's unheard of and it's fantastic. And it really, really works. Then there are boardrooms and other meeting rooms. Here's an example of one of the boardrooms where you could actually host meetings, or you can attend meetings or team sessions, or if there's training being done on a small scale. So these spaces allow groups of agents to meet when necessary and to collaborate and learn together and so on. You can also there'll be multiple screens, so you can share your screen or you can share your presentations on multiple screens in the room. So you still get the benefits of meeting spaces and collaboration, but without the expense of office overheads, which is very important in our model because that helps EXP to compensate the agents in so many more ways. So it's about that firstly, but then also, again, it's quick and it's easy and there's no dressing up, etc. Right. In large auditoriums like these are used for bigger events or bigger training sessions, or if there's monthly national meetings, for instance. So anything important happening and you get notified, you can go and attend, and you simply log in and join. No traveling again, there's no stress. It's all just cloud-based and very efficient. And the nice thing about these auditoriums is it's really, really super efficient, right? There can be multiple presenters and multiple screens. So it all works very much like a large online meeting or a webinar, but it's much more efficient because they set up all the screens pre-hand for every presenter. So people are not fumbling, sharing their screens and unsharing their screens and things like that. Okay. And then again, this whole cloud setup, I must mention, it's replacing or has replaced the expensive overheads of the old-fashioned offices and buildings of the old-fashioned companies. And this is what allows EXP to spend money on better systems and technology, firstly, and secondly, to compensate the agents with so much better commissions, but also other ways of compensating them through equity shares and share incentives and multiple other income streams, which we're not even going to really touch on today. Okay, so while your traditional real estate companies spend money on buildings, EXP spends money on technology and system and their agents. Okay, important to take note of that. Then again, within EXP world, you've got multiple info hubs. I mean, here you could go 24 hours a day, whenever it suits you, 3 in the morning, you can go in there. So there's so many info hubs. These are like small little offices, but they've been set up differently. So you can go there to quickly get information about any of the systems that we've been talking about, like flow marketing or iBid or any of the other tools. So each one has a little office and you can go in there and there's videos and etc. You can also go to learn about our third-party providers, such as bond originators and foreign exchange service providers, insurance service providers, and so much more. And remember that you can go and learn how these things work because EXP has also negotiated with them for additional third-party referral income streams for all the agents, which is a big source of extra income for us. Okay, and then there's also trained AI bots. You might be able to see one in there in the distance. Called Naledi. Anyway, so we've also got trained AI bots that can help answer many questions even after hours, which is very, very useful. So all of this really empowers agents to learn at their own pace and to find information whenever it suits them. Okay, even if it's the middle of the night, as I said. Everything you need is literally just a few steps away. Okay, so instead of depending again on a person being available to supply you with information, the information is always available when you need it in these types of info hubs. All right. Now, I really love this part because this is where technology is going. Okay. If you've perhaps fallen asleep, which I don't think you have, then wake up now. Every EXP agent, this is fantastic. Every EXP agent has the opportunity to design their own private virtual office inside EXP World. You don't have to do this, obviously, but you absolutely can. So if you want to make use of this, you can then go and set this up and you can go and meet clients there. You can meet other agents there. You can do consultations. You could do client presentations right inside your own virtual office space. It's fully customizable. You set it up exactly as you want and as I'm going to show you now. So there can be screens on the walls. There can be documents that people can browse through, videos that they can watch, whatever you put there. You can even create chatbots and train them to basically answer people the way you want them to be answered. And it's basically like having your own professional boardroom that you can carry in your pocket once again. So you simply send someone a link. They can join you in your office, or they can go there without you and just browse around at whatever you have put up there. So again, this is like a portable listing presentation for you. You can just send people, and believe me, the younger generation especially, but not only them, people are getting with it. They love to see this. Okay, it just interests them. So, and your international clients, I mean, meeting virtually like this is becoming more and more normal, and they actually enjoy it and they often prefer it. This really is the future. Okay, but it's already here. So This is just an example of what a virtual office could look like. This is one I set up for myself and Lydia. So there are various templates and environments you can choose from. Okay, I chose a simple one so people don't get lost, but you could choose a whole office setup with. Anyway, there's various you can choose from. Okay, and it actually feels surprisingly real when you're in there, and it creates a very professional atmosphere. Now, this is the space, as I said, that I set up for Lydia and myself, just as an example of what is possible. Okay, I'm going to play a quick video that just sort of takes you on a short walk. And remember, this is not set in stone. This is how I set it up. There are multiple ways to set these things up. Okay, this is just a quick little video. So you'll see this is what it basically looks up. You can put all sorts of things in the space. You would have seen there. I had a chatbot over there. I've got videos that I put up. You can put your listings up there and screens to share information. As you're seeing there, it's going fast. Information for clients, and you'll see now documents such as mandates and OTPs that people can simply zoom on, and then they can browse through them, and so on and so forth. So this is fantastic. And it also shows clients that you're using modern tools and technologies and systems to serve them better and work more professionally. And there's our little chatbot. Okay, I'll tell you a little bit more about it just now. Okay. As you saw as we're walking around there, so you can do all sorts of things. And that's just the way I set it up. Okay, so you could share your screen. You could even use your webcam. You can put videos over there that you can play. You can show documents to clients page by page and so forth. Pretty soon, probably you'll be able to sign them in there. Okay, as soon as the laws change. So it works really, really well for various things, for virtual listing appointments and buyer consultations, especially for buyers who may be overseas or not able to meet you in person. You meet them here and then everything's in one place, everything. Okay, so this whole type of, call it virtual interaction, it's actually becoming more and more normal. Especially with our younger generation. So this does set you apart. Okay, again, just some more examples. So you can discuss the client's needs with them, like bonds and insurance, as you see there, foreign exchange. This is how I set mine up. So you can discuss everything in one place. Show them the marketing platforms and the service providers you work with. Yeah, so of course, many of these things also actually create opportunities for additional third-party income, as I've mentioned. So that's why I put it up there and we discuss it. And if we refer the clients to them because they need those services, we will be earning third-party incomes. Anyway, this is all flexibility at its best. All right, professional, it's convenient, it's very easy to use. So every single agent can easily set this up for themselves. As I mentioned, there's so much you can do. I just want to show you a little bit of technology going forward as well. So you can obviously showcase your listings inside your virtual office here, and you can obviously show people the photos and the videos, 3D tours if you have them, whatever you use. And while you're talking to a client, you can be present, all right? Otherwise, they can look at it in your absence, but nevertheless. But what's really, really fantastic is that now, for instance, you can also set up a street view for a specific property right here in your virtual office. So while you're speaking to a client, you can actually explore the area or the suburb with them. You can show them what the house in the suburb looks like in the area. So just imagine how useful this can be for buyers who may not be able to visit the property immediately. They might be overseas or even just located remotely in a different city. Because now it will help them visualize the area and surroundings without actually being there, and you can walk them through it. I'm going to show you, I've actually got a quick video here as well. So here, for instance, when you click on this sphere, now that sphere is something I just quickly set up for that specific property. So it's a street view I set up in here for a specific address. All right. So you actually go into street view while you're still inside your office, and now you and your client are both in the street view. And while you're talking to a client, you can then show them where the house is, what the street looks like, the neighbors' houses, the actual neighborhood, etc. So I'm going to click on the video so you can just see. So then I'm going to click basically on the sphere, and in I go. And as I said, so there's the house, and now you show them, oh, this is what the rest of the street looks like. And you and the client can talk and carry on while you're going down there, showing in the area, walking around, and you can go and show them possibly nearby schools, which I think I've got in here. Show them what the nearby school looks like, shops if they're interested. So you can wander around in a street view, and you can actually explore the area together while you're speaking. Okay. And then when you're done, basically, you simply exit the street view, little button, you click, and then you're back again. So that is quite amazing. Incredibly useful, obviously, for relocation buyers, out-of-town buyers, international buyers, etc. Just gives you another professional way to present a property. And now they've seen everything they need to see, even the neighborhood, and you could draw up an OTP right there and then. Okay, another professional way of interacting with people. And this really type of thing is the future. Within that same virtual office, okay, a very useful feature is that it can translate text and speech into more than 30 languages within your office. There's a chat box, okay? So it can either be text to text, so like a normal chat box where you type in your language and you just set up your language and the client sets up their language on their computer. And then whatever you're typing in your language, they will see in their language. And when they type in their language, you'll see it, etc. But not only text to text, even speech to text while you're speaking live. It'll translate it into that person's language in text. So you speak and it's typing out on the other side in that person's language. Quite amazing. So just think how this also opens up international communication when it's a bit difficult and makes cross-language collaboration so much easier and removes those sort of barriers. Okay, so here's just an example of how this works. I mean, here I was basically speaking in English. On the other side of the system, Lydia was on her computer, just as an example, and she was set up in Afrikaans. So whatever I was saying in English, and this was in voice, I was actually speaking this, and it was typing it out for me, and it was typing it out for Lydia in her language. So it's quite simple. That's just an example. And then whatever she says back, she can say in Afrikaans, and it'll translate it into English. And this in more than 30 languages. So you can choose what language, etc. And it's almost basically like having a full-time interpreter that can manage many languages and available all the time. Okay. Then as you saw in there also, obviously you saw that I have set up a chatbot. So this you could even train to answer common questions. It obviously can have ChatGPT functionality, just normal, but you can also train it to answer common questions and guide clients and support people so people can get information even when you are not available. Now, this is a really practical way of blending artificial intelligence with your everyday real estate business, and it gives your business a modern feel. Okay, it can also work as a lead generation tool because, as I said, the bot can be trained to eventually ask for the client's contact details, so it can help the client and eventually say, maybe you should get in touch with Lydia, and then can I ask them to give you a contact, because that's something they would help you with. So also a lead generation tool. Okay, so this is another example of even when you're not working, you have systems that are working for you. That was just an example of what does footsteps mean, and it answered it very nicely. Okay, right. Now, if we step back for a moment, it's much more than a virtual office, right? So, I mean, what we are really talking about here is really not just a virtual office. We're talking about a place, firstly, where you can meet clients, you can present your properties, you can explain documents, you can show them the neighborhood, you can share information. You can basically run your business professionally from wherever you are. Doesn't matter where you are, even on holiday. It's also a place where your clients can go to get information, even if you're not there, okay, depending on what you choose to make available in there. It's all up to you. And whether an agent chooses to use all of this or not, all this functionality, that's not really the point. The point is that these tools are available if you want to build a more modern and flexible real estate business. And the other companies are going to be playing catch up. Anyway, so, but also, obviously, it's a great wow factor when you're doing your listing presentations, and a differentiator between you and other agents that are also doing listing presentations. Okay. And then just for a little bit of fun. So I'm not a big dancer. Lydia will vouch for that. In public, in any case, I don't really dance much. But when Lydia has done a deal or we've done a sale, then I say to Lydia these days, meet me in the office, and then I gaan mal. Anyway, that's me doing my little dance moves. Now, actually, when we go to weddings and things, I actually have a move because I learned from my bot, my AI avatar, how to move. Okay, just a bit of tongue in cheek there. So, moving on. So I know now we've been talking all the time about cloud-based and all the support systems that we have and everything that's next level. But there are sometimes times that you might actually still want a physical workspace, or you maybe just quickly need to meet clients somewhere or something like that. So the nice thing is we can blend our virtual and physical working depending on our preferences. Okay, so this gives us a bit more flexibility that traditional agencies can't match, because we're also not just talking about one office on the corner in your town. All right. So this gives us the best of both worlds, virtual offices as well as potential physical workspace when we need it. Because as EXP agents, we get complimentary access to Regis business lounges worldwide. And there are more than 4,000 locations worldwide. So almost wherever you are, there's probably one close to you. And then you can use those professional workspaces. Sometimes it's just perfect between appointments, or when you're working outside your normal area, or you're just traveling somewhere, even internationally. Look up a Regis office and you can just go there and you can do your thing. So you have access to the lounge areas, complimentary. Okay, you have an app that you show them, EXP app, and you go in you go. But you can also book private offices or boardrooms, etc., if you want to, which you will pay for, but at discounted rates at least, if you do need more private meeting spaces. So this is really ideal for agents who like the freedom of working virtually, but they still do want professional office space every now and then. Okay, so now we're starting to sum up. And I think this slide really sums up where our real advantage lies in the modern real estate market. So when you combine better training and better collaboration between agents, and combine that with better technology, then it makes a huge difference to how efficiently and professionally you can actually run your business. Okay, then you add to that, add strong infrastructure and global reach to all of this, which allows agents to scale their businesses in ways that traditional models simply can't keep up with. And then on top of that, there are, as I've mentioned lightly and shortly, multiple income streams available, which creates stability that goes far beyond just selling property every month. Okay, so overall, it's really a model that is designed to help agents grow and build long-term businesses and sustainable businesses, and not just eventually try to survive from one deal to the other. Okay, so the goal is not to sell more property this year. The goal is to build a business that still works for you in 5 or 10 or 20 years. And again, if you basically just sort of step back and then look at the industry, you'll see that real estate is evolving rapidly. Technology is changing fast. Artificial intelligence is changing how we work on a daily basis. Marketing is changing. Client expectations are shifting very fast. They expect faster responses. They expect better marketing, better presence. They want a more professional service than they have ever wanted before. Okay, and the reality is that the agents who are adapting now are going to get ahead and the others are falling behind. Okay, it's not because they're bad agents, as I've mentioned before. It's simply because the industry has moved on. Artificial intelligence is not replacing agents. It's empowering the agents who know how to use it properly. Okay, so this is the perfect time to modernize your systems and future-proof your business. Because the agents who adapt now, as I've said, are going to lead the market in the future. The future is not going to belong to the busiest agents. That used to be the case. Now it's going to belong to the most efficient agents. All right. I'm going to touch briefly on artificial intelligence in general. I'm not going to go in depth here because we do run a regular ChatGPT training session, obviously, and many of you have actually attended those previously. But it is important to just touch on why this matters. With ChatGPT or other similar models like Claude and Gemini, etc., they have really evolved from being something that was just a nice to have or a novelty into what is now becoming an essential business tool. Okay, and this is something everybody can use. It's almost like having a researcher and a copywriter and a designer and a personal assistant all in one place, basically. Okay, so these tools help you to work faster. They simplify complex tasks and they produce really polished content in a fraction of the time that it used to take. So the big thing is, this is honestly one of the most powerful single tools that agents can start using today. And once you start using it properly, it'll really very quickly become part of your daily workflow. Okay, we need to get into these things if you're not into it yet. I've mentioned before, I mean, you can use ChatGPT for unlimited content creation to make sure with your lead generation and your lead nurturing. You can create social media posts, email newsletters, listing descriptions, website content, so much more. It's especially helpful for agents who struggle with writing and coming up with ideas, which is definitely me, or just being consistent with your marketing. And it doesn't just help with the ideas, it actually speeds up your entire marketing workflow so that you can produce professional content much faster and stay visible and top of mind. Okay, now, if people don't see you, remember, they don't think of you. And if they don't think of you, they're not going to contact you. That's very important. So what we actually use ChatGPT for on a daily basis is many things. Okay, please attend the ChatGPT webinar if you haven't yet. We use it for analyzing images and documents and helping with zoning queries or whatever, summarizing large documents, just many things. It helps us also to troubleshoot software as I go through things. And we just look at all the whole list over there. If you're having a problem in Word or Excel or Adobe, they'll help you with that in seconds. So it's really become a core part of our business. And these are just the simple examples. Okay, and this tool alone can honestly save you hours and hours every single week. The biggest benefit, basically, of artificial intelligence is not that it replaces your work, but that it removes many of the small repetitive tasks that you focus on, so that you can then focus more on your clients and more important work and free up time so that you can spend more time with your loved ones. Okay, I'm not going to harp too much on this, but then going on to more advanced things, once you've started mastering ChatGPT for the normal things, which is creating images, analyzing images, changing images, going through documents, etc. There are so many more advanced features once you start getting into it. The important thing is to understand that it's no longer just a chat tool. Okay? It's really becoming a full AI partner. So most people will use ChatGPT to ask questions. Some might start using it to create images or analyze images and so on. But the next level is using it, look at the slide over there, for things like projects. So where ChatGPT gets to remember your work for a specific topic, all the chats, etc., and it starts getting the right context and so on. Then after that, you can start creating custom GPTs that actually act like assistants for you for specific tasks. We're not going in depth here, but just know that this is there, and I'll be doing things on presentations on this at some time in the future. I'm using these on a daily basis. And then you get agent mode. Okay, that's where ChatGPT actually helps you complete tasks and complete workflows, actually. Okay, so that's where this is all going. You can also run deep research, automate workflows. That's something I'm busy doing. Anyway, okay, you can use agent mode to navigate websites, for instance. Navigate websites, then work with files, then handle more complex tasks for you, compile reports, send them to people. You give it access to various of your tools, and it does things for you. That's where it's really going. Okay, so this is where it'll stop becoming a novelty and start becoming a serious business tool. All right, pretty much what I'm saying is successful agents are pretty soon you're going to have a whole team of little AI agents, okay, or AI assistants working behind the scenes for you, even while you sleep and doing certain repetitive tasks. All right. So what's really fascinating to know, as I touched on already, is that you can actually start building your own team of AI-powered digital assistants or a whole workforce. All right. They can handle almost anything. They can do things like market reports and, as I've said, client follow-ups. They will be able to access your database and your CRM and do functions from there and compile reports and send emails and do many of the admin tasks that normally take up a lot of your time. Okay, so just imagine having like 10 or 20 of these little assistants working quietly in the background, as I've mentioned, and just performing many of your routine tasks automatically all the time. What this really does is just really frees you up, okay, and helps you to focus on the more important things. All right, and this is basically how it's becoming possible that one person can run a whole business that used to require a whole team. All right, so just take note of that. That's just a little bit of a takeaway. And what you must know is the future is already here, okay? I mean, it really is. The reality is the future is here. Clients are getting used to instant responses and smarter service. They're getting used to just really being demanding, all right? So behind the scenes, the really smart agents are starting to use automation and better systems and artificial intelligence to take a huge amount of admin off their plates and still live up to the client's expectations that are increasing all the time. Okay, I'm not trying to sound dramatic here. It's simply the reality of where our industry is heading. So right now, the gap is slowly widening between agents who are using these types of systems and those who are not. Right, use the tools. Just use them. They're going to make you work faster. They're going to help you to follow up better. They're going to help you to stay organized, stay top of mind with your clients without burning yourself out. Because the tools are already there for us. We just need to use them. Okay. So if you're wondering what this would actually look like inside a real estate business, this is where it becomes interesting. I'm just going to touch on these little topics. Traditionally, obviously, most agents build their businesses out of separate pieces, right? CRM here and some training over there and then marketing tools over there, and they start losing track really. Compliance is somewhere else, and you're constantly trying to juggle everything. So what we really appreciate about this specific model is that it's built around a very simple idea. Put the agent at the center of everything. So instead of agents having to assemble all these pieces themselves, the whole ecosystem provides all the technology and the training and all the platforms and the collaboration that allow agents to grow sustainable businesses. And then there's another very important part that many agents don't always consider. I have touched on this previously. Because of this cloud-based overhead structure, that is, and all your overhead costs are so much lower. There's so much more money available for the people who are actually doing the work, which is the agents. And this is why this model allows for multiple income streams for us as agents, okay? So we don't just earn commission from sales. So pretty much overall, it's simply a smarter structure for the world we're moving into. The old-fashioned models are built around offices and office owners, all right? This model is definitely built around agents. Okay, that really brings me to the main message I wanted to leave you with today. Real estate will always be a people business. I keep saying this. Relationships, trust, negotiating between parties, and your local knowledge of your area, these are always going to matter. They're always going to be very, very important. But the agents who combine those human skills with modern systems and tools, those agents are simply going to outperform those who don't. So moving forward, your biggest advantage is not going to only be experience, but it's going to be your adaptability. The good news is that you don't have to figure all of this out on your own. You simply need the right systems and the right tools and the right environment that supports agents who want to grow. Okay, so before we wrap up, I just want to say this, and I genuinely mean it. This is not a sales pitch. I do believe that every agent should be fully informed about the different models and opportunities available in our industry so that you can make the best possible decision for your own future. Okay, if anything we've spoken about today sparked your curiosity, you're very, very welcome to reach out to Lydia or myself. Okay, we are always happy to have a relaxed one-on-one conversation with you. For example, if you may be just curious about the EXP model and the additional income streams, we can explain how that works. We can do it in a very simple and transparent way. If you'd like, we can also look at your current workflows, how you're busy generating leads and following up, and maybe identify a few areas where better systems could save you time or improve your results. or if you'd simply like to see all these tools that we've actually shown today in action, we can very easily jump on a quick Google Meet and I can show you the actual systems in the back end, behind the scenes, so you can see what's really possible. No pressure, just information. Okay, our contact details are on the screen, so feel free to reach out any way you can. WhatsApp, email, whatever works for you. And thank you again for spending time with us today. We really appreciate it. I hope the session gave you a few ideas that you can take back into your own business. And we wish you a strong, focused, and just a very successful career ahead.